Hello, welcome. Nothing cute, obviously, is my cat. Alright, so I have some topics today in this rant. It's first of all skateboard parks. For you parents that bring your kids to a certain park that are allocated for a certain um type of what you would call it usage, like a skateboard park, where you use it for skateboards and similar activity or um, vehicular stuff like inlines, roller skaters, and maybe BMXs, mini scooters. You know, the ones you push. You have to have some type of equipment to use this park. But well, there's some people that bring their kids without this equipment. Well, in my mind, that's a ballsy, or that's a bad move in being a good parent. As you leave you leave this kid to play normally on a allocated place for special types. Um, for you parents who do not care what your kids do, please do care, okay? Because it helps the rest of us that try to enjoy the activity. All right, I've skated a lot when I was younger, and I've bumped into the people, or not people, but kids that doesn't really know what they're doing because they don't have the gear that they need. They don't have a skateboard. They don't have a inlines. They don't have a thing to use this park. They just go around, maybe run up a ramp. That's fun and all, but this is not for what it's used for. You have to have the equipment to use it. I mean, I can beat around the park all I want. Some parents just don't want to learn. I think they are the biggest those dicks and cunts there are in this world. But then there's other types of those horrible people. I mean, what the fuck? Why do you occupy a space where you don't have the equipment for? It's like me going into a mine without the mining equipment. What the fuck am I doing there? I'm wasting my own time. Not learning how to mine, not learning how to process ores. I'm just there for the lulz, eh? No. What the fuck am I there? It's like going on a trip without any gear to survive the trip. Like, for example, you're going into a blizzard storm without any clothes on. That would be retarded, right? You'll freeze to death. And you will probably blame the storm for killing people, eh? Use your brain. Some things needs the right equipment for doing stuff, yeah? This might be a bad straw man, but sometimes I can't be bothered, or I can be bothered, but I'm really tired of people misusing allocated spaces. Not saying that some people are not allowed to be in this space, as the only thing you need in this space are the right tools. You don't have to be a certain, well, sex. For example, you don't have to be a girl or boy. You can be whatever you like, as long as you have a skateboard or type of equipment you use for this park. A skate park is a skate park. And if you are dead weight and dead space, nobody's gonna like you. So, for example, even the skate parks, other skaters are annoyed at you because you are in the way most of the time. And well, that's a certain thing you're gonna learn. Well, enough about that. You can also go, if you're a parent that understands this now and then sees your wrong ways, and then now you want to give your kids some equipment and protection. Go to skate stores. They sell a lot of good stuff. They might be pricey, but if you want your kids to have fun and not be in the way for others, good things to kit your or give your kids the right gear to enjoy the park without, well, being a bunch of kids without gear. There's a lot of kids in skate park, so and then there's you don't have to go to a skate park, skate shop for your skating needs. There are plenty of normal stores, sports stores that have skating tools and skateboards and yeah, all of the parts you need to build a skateboard. But don't expect the quality to be the best. Some skate stores has the worst qualities that you can ever use, and you will notice it as you won't learn much. You'll probably be able to roll around with it, but you will notice a lot of flaws with it. But and some of the store people or the staff are not that smart or knowledge about around this stuff. So to my second point, which is science and the scientific method of uh, well, what is scientific method, which every science have to use, or I'm getting twisted now, but no buts. Science uses a scientific method to or a method called scientific method. I'm just repeating myself, being retarded. But what is this scientific method? It's a okay. To break it down for everyone, it's a way you can. It's all about tests and experiments where you say you're doing an experiment. Don't know what I'm doing with my hands, but you're doing an experiment for experiment this hand, and then results this hand. You should be able to do the experiment with this hand, and then get the result for this hand. Like for example, not that hard, but you have to have a repeatable way of proving your point. For example, that are based in reality, that one can observe either indirectly or directly. For example, the ways of indirectly observing might be the age of the Earth, as we have no capacity to actually time travel and check how old is this Earth, or how old is the universe, or how old might it be, as it not a sure way to know. Nothing is sure. It's just speculations based on evidence we can find. All right. So, for example, there's a lot of ways of determining age. There's the normal we call carbon dating, but the problem with carbon dating, it's a very limited time. After a certain distance of time, not a distance, but a scale of time, it's just irrelevant. It won't show you any older specimen beyond a certain time. There's as this is a rant, I won't really get into the details. I won't link anything below, but if you look up the different types of radioactive dating on Google, or just Google it, like Shank says, Google it. You're smart enough, Google it yourself. Research. Of course. No. Memes. Yes, there's a lot of different ways. For example, uranium dating. You can also date, for example, why is it called radioactive dating, for example? Because radioactive material has a we call it now. They do half time, or they simply deteriorate, and then we have a method of determining how long it takes for it to half its like deteriorate to its half of its mass. So if we, for example, carbon dating, I need to look it up, but I think it's about something of 6,000 years, or no, 8,000. I don't really know. That's the thing. You're gonna have to look that up. There's other, but sometimes you have to have maybe 3 or more different types of radioactive datings, or you have to look at all of them to be able to discern where or how old this object might be. Sometimes carbon dating just cannot predict the older things in the universe. I don't know if it's more than 10,000 or more. I really don't know. That's just the thing. I don't know how old, how far back carbon dating can take us. Then it's I'm just stupid. Let's just, for the sake of it, look it up. Google it myself, you know. Doing any kind of research on camera? Are you mad? Radio active dating. Where is you dating? Radioactive dating. Wikipedia, why not? The thing that teacher says do not use, because, well, it's not true. It is somewhat true, okay? It's gonna have to use a critical thinking about it, so you have to be skeptical about it. So let's see, radioactive decay. Let's see if I can get a list of items. We have uranium lead dating method. Involves using uranium-235 or uranium-238 to date a substance absolute age. This scheme has been refined to the point that the error margin in dates of rocks can be as low as less than 2 million years in 2.5 billion years. That's insane. But an error margin of 2 to 5% has been achieved on younger mosaic rocks. All right, you can read this all you like. All right, and there's the samarium neodymium dating method that involves the alpha decay of 147 SM to 143 ND. Look up the periodic table, all right, and you'll find the elements, all right, with a half-life. Remember, the half-life is how long the parent mass of the material deteriorates to half of the original amount, and you can calculate a type of a calculation or curve, or a a half, which is called a half-life. Half-life of 1.06 times 10 to the power of 11 years. And that's not little, alright? That's a lot of years. I mean, that's that's 11 zeros, alright? Or is it? It is times, like, that's insane. That's really insane. It's far back, you know. Accuracy levels of which within 20 million years in age of 2.5 billion years are achievable. That's a good margin, yeah. And then there's foods can't pronounce some of these words, but it's gonna have to go in there yourself. So potassium, I can't pronounce it. I'm a pleb. To argon or potassium argon dating method. It involves electron capture or positron decay of positron potassium 40 to argon 40. I think that's just different types of argon. It's the same number 40. I don't really know. I'm not that into the different types of elements that you can achieve. Really don't know. Okay, back to the topic. So has an half-life of 1.3 billion years. So it can go back 1.3 billion years. All right. The calculation has shown it can go back as far as 1.3 billion years to the experiments that they have done. All right. That's just how you do. This is what these are just results of what people have researched and done. This is to date something at something, you have to maybe run all of these datings that you can do in the subject of how old a object is. You're gonna have to use all of this. For example, when dating a dinosaur, you can't just simply use carbon dating. If I can go to radiocarbon dating, let's see its half-life. All right, radiocarbon dating is also simply called carbon-14 dating, which is just a radioactive carbon element or version of carbon. The radioactive isotope of carbon. Yeah, with a half-life of 5,730 years. All right, that's not long. All right, I was somewhat okay with 6,000 years, but a bit too far away. Good that you look it up, yeah. Which is very short compared with the above isotopes, yeah. Most of these go back as far as 1.3 billion years, 50 billion years. Okay, rubidium, strontium dating has a half-life of 50 billion years. That's a lot. And then uranium 234 to thorium 230 has a half-life of about 80,000 years. That's long, but not too long. Yeah. And then the potassium argon dating was about 1.3 billion years. Samarium neodymium dating was about, I think, 10 to the power of 6 is million, and then 10 to the power of 9 is billion. You have still 10 to the power of 2 more to that of, like, I think it's 106 billion years for the samarium neodymium dating, if it's 1.06 times 10 to the power of 11. I'm not sure. Sometimes that when you convert it to a more of a standard billion and million, yeah, with a good margin, okay. And then the uranium lead dating, has a 2 million years and 2.5. That's just there. What's the half-life here then? let's say one of the adventures with a half-life about 700 million years. Yeah, from uranium-235 decade to lead-207. That's with a half-life about 700 million years. All right, and one based on uranium-238 to lead-206 with a half-life of about 4.5 billion years. That's even longer. Yeah. When you can understand how little carbon dating gives you, all right? Okay. If I read more of the carbon dating for you, a carbon-based life form acquires carbon during its lifetime. Plants acquire it through photosynthesis, and animal acquire it from consumption of plants and other animals. When the organism dies, it ceases to take in new carbon-14 atoms, or substance that contains carbon-14, and the existing isotope decays with a characteristic half-life of 5,730 years. The proportion of the carbon-14 left when the remains of the organisms are examined proves an indication of the time elapsed. Just so you know, I'm not that good at speech, but I try. There's no crime to try, you know. Since it's deaf, this is deaf. This makes the carbon 14 dating an ideal. I mean, saying carbon 14 dating. It says carbon 14, an ideal, but I like to add the dating because it is a dating type. An ideal dating method to date an age of bones or remains of an organism. The carbon dating limit lies around 58,000 to 62,000 years, because after that the carbon is gone mostly. It's decayed already, all gone. Anything past that is gone. So for our the human remains, all the human remains that you can find, you can't use a carbon dating, because human remains have been found older than 1 million years, and those things, I mean, it's past the limit. There's no more carbon unless the carbon is contaminated, or the bones are contaminated with new carbon. It's very possible having new material contaminated the specimen that you have in your hand or try to date, because you have to try all of these dating, try them all, see if they all tell the same or tell somewhat. For example, if the carbon dating says it's at its peak, for example at the oldest top you can get, then maybe it's older. You maybe want to try something else to find out if it's older. Or for example, if it's in the middle of it, it might be something. You have to try something else to see, does this actually tell the entire story? It might just be contaminated. That's why you have to be skeptical about the research, because sometimes you're not diligent enough behind your study. All right. So fusion track dating that involves the inspection of a polished sliced slice of material determine the density of track mark left in it by the spontaneous fission of uranium 238 impurities. The uranium content of the sample has to be known, but that can be determined by placing a plastic film over the polished slice of material and bombarding it with slow neutrons. This causes induced fission of 235 uranium, alright? As opposed to the spontaneous fission of 238 uranium. The fission tracks produced by this process are recorded in the plastic film. The uranium content of the material can then be calculated from the number of tracks and the neutron flux. I don't say I understand what's happened here. I also have a little understanding of what it is all about, right? You can just read. You can even try to read the elementary physics and chemistry, and you'll get something of an understanding. And then, because science doesn't always mean that everything is set in stone and it has to be this way because it's this way. It's not. You have to be able to experiment and observe the results and be able to self-critique yourself or critique yourself and keep a good side of skepticism of yourself and your research. Because sometimes you might use a preconceived bias, aka religion, aka moral types of views that's been taught to you by your peers. Might not be right, but sometimes I don't say go and murder to see what the reaction is or do something dumb. Follow the laws, alright? And yeah. There's a lot of radioactive types of to date things. Let's just see how old you can date with this fission track dating, fusion, the thing you do with the radioactive stuff. How to well, when they split the atoms with neutrons, yeah, to gain energy. By the way, used right, it's more eco-friendly than most carbon or fossil fuels out there, and even the renewable sources. All right, even better, as it doesn't release any CO2. All of its waste are containable. All right, with some leaking, but none of the other have actual control of the exhaust, right? So there you go. Hiding the cat because he is licking himself. I don't know if YouTube doesn't care, but you never know. It might be sexual for some. Fucking creeps. No, I don't care. There's a lot of weird fetishes around there, but still. Science is a broad term, alright? But what is not is not unfounded hypotheses, thoughts and ideas. Unfounded, alright? Unfounded. It's not. And it's not immune to critiquing and debunking, alright? It's not immune to it. You're just gonna have to find a way to show that that there's a better way. There's a more explanatory way, and then that way will be preserved as fact. Alright? You can look it up. Ask Shake says, look it up. You have Google, right? Look it up. Of course! Yeah. Okay. Ranting over. Okay. A little bit of a story for today. I went out fishing today, and I got my biggest cod. Atlantic cod, I think this is called, or it's maybe it's Atlantic cod. I can look it up. Atlantic cod with one O cod. Pictures. Yes. Let's just add display. No, not browser sources, but window capture. Yes. Window capture. No. Sorry, folks. Discard. Where's window capture? Remove. Sorry, folks. Okay. Display capture, maybe. Add existing capture one. No, wrong. Properties. No, other one. Okay, properties. Fine. Let's just simply drag the tab. You can see this is an Atlantic cod, more of a natural. I fished two of them up. This is a fat belly, just so you know. It has eaten a lot of stuff, but they're quite okay to eat. But their heads get big, very, very big, very mean. But they eat crabs and other crustaceans. I got two of them. Yeah, dollar bling. No, but as you can see, they got really big. In deep waters, they get really big. That's a lot of meat, but when they get big and heavy and like that, they do attract a lot of worms. So be careful. I mean, these are some insane big ones. But I got one that's 63 centimeters. 63 centimeters long. That's no joke. Let's just take that off. Ta-da! Let's just go back to weirdness. I got two of them, and I got let's see if I can just sometimes you want the picture to like cover the damn well image. I want a nice good one, because I can't really show you anything on my or mobile. Yeah, I think this is a good. Enable that again and push it. You can see this fish. It's called at least in the Swedish language, this is a skrubbaskrädda. which as you can see here, and right along the fins, there's okay. First, the fins has like a thorny, bony feel to it when you go this feel. Like if you feel the fingers, the way my cursor is going, you can feel like thorns. But if you go the other way, you won't feel much. This in the middle of here, you'll feel sandpaper going up to the head, but smoothness going down. It's like sandpaper. This is the easiest way to identify if it's a skrubaskreda. I do not know what it's called in English, but there is also the kind that's called. Let's see. I forgot, but it's also a flatfish. But the different with this that flatfish is if you put it up to a light, you should be able to see through the body. But the skrubaskreda does not enable you to do that. That's also a scientific way of understanding. Put back my camera. Understanding how you can use science as an observer. You can observe the fact, and you like say one species has more of a translucent skin and body than the other. If you put it up to the sun or a light, you should be able to see somewhat of bones and internal organs through the fish. I wish I could remember the name. And can't remember. But I seem like I'm well above 37 minutes. Well, not well above, but just past that. So I'm gonna have to upload this now to YouTube and take my leave and maybe get some sleep for myself. Yeah. Bye. Have a good day or night, wherever you might be. Might watch when you might watch this. Don't really mind. As a YouTube video, it just will linger until it gets or gains attraction. You know. It's cold here. It's very windy in Malmö. Where I live in Sweden, but Malmö and the region called Skåne, it's very flat, and it doesn't help that you live in a coastal area. I've been inside for maybe a couple of hours. I was out fishing today, but well, and I can't stop the runny nose. Well, it's already 1 minute before I said I was going to end this, or I didn't say that, but well, I meant to say that at least. So have a good day, and see you in another rant, or maybe just a gameplay video. You might not even be interested in my gameplay videos. That's all fair. Bye.